We usually judge a company by its products, right? Or its profits, maybe its market share. But what if we're missing the most important metric of all? What if the true measure of a company's long-term success actually lies in its character?
I mean, think about it for a second. When it comes to people, we judge them by their honesty, their integrity, their reliability. It's just second nature. But should we really apply that same standard to a huge, maybe even faceless corporation?
Well, the answer is a big, resounding yes. And there's a name for it: corporate character. It's this idea that a company, just like a person, has a personality and, yeah, a moral identity.
Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, corporate character is pretty much the sum of a company's values, its ethics, and its actions. It's not just some mission statement hanging on a wall, it's how the organization behaves when no one is watching. In simple terms, it's basically the company's personality.
All right, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little idealistic, a bit fluffy, right? Like a nice to have. But the data shows that having a strong corporate character isn't just about feeling good. It's about the bottom line. It really pays to have principles.
So let's break down the payoff here. A strong character builds trust with your customers, and that's priceless. It creates a stellar reputation, makes employees actually want to stick around, helps ensure the business can last for the long haul, and it even makes investors and partners feel more confident. I mean, it's a win-win-win across the board.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? You can't just throw money at a trust problem. Trust is a byproduct of consistent, ethical behavior over a long time. It has to be earned day in and day out. And the impact on the people inside the company is huge. Just look at this data. Companies with a strong character see higher job satisfaction and more productivity. And as you can see from that much smaller bar, way lower employee turnover. A healthy character creates a healthy, motivated, and stable workforce. It's that simple.
Okay, so if this corporate character thing is so crucial, how do you actually build it? I mean, it doesn't just appear out of thin air, right? Nope, it's constructed, piece by piece, on a really solid foundation.
Well, it comes down to these 5 key pillars. It all starts with core values, what the company truly believes in. Then you have the ethical standards, the rules of right and wrong. This stuff shapes the corporate culture, how people actually behave every day. And it's all driven by leadership behavior and overseen by corporate governance. You see, each pillar is holding up the others. And, out of all those pillars, leadership might just be the most critical one. This quote really says it all. If the leaders of a company act with integrity, if they're ethical, that behavior will just cascade down through the entire organization. And of course, the opposite is also true.
So we've talked about the good stuff. But what happens when companies just ignore their character? Well, the consequences can be absolutely devastating. This isn't just a minor misstep we're talking about. It can be a fatal flaw.
This is really the key takeaway. Profit that's built on a foundation of character, that leads to sustainable, long-term success. But chasing profit at the expense of character, that success is almost always temporary. It's a house of cards just waiting to collapse.
And believe me, when that house of cards comes tumbling down, the fallout is brutal. We're talking about a complete loss of public trust, massive legal fines, a brand reputation left in tatters, employee morale hitting rock bottom, and ultimately, a failing business. The risks are just enormous.
And honestly, you don't have to look very far for proof, do you? Just think of some of the big corporate scandals you've heard about over the years. History is basically a graveyard of once powerful corporations that crumbled because their chase for profit wasn't guided by character. It's a lesson that just keeps getting taught over and over again.
All right, this brings us to our final section, which is all about the ultimate test of character. See, it's easy to have principles when everything's going well, but the true measure of a company's soul, that's revealed when things go wrong.
And this is a really, really important point. Having a strong character doesn't make a company immune to problems. Every business on the planet faces challenges. What character does is give a company a framework for navigating those challenges effectively and ethically.
So, when a crisis hits, how does a company with real character handle it? Well, the playbook is simple, but it's powerful. They communicate with radical honesty. They take responsibility for their mistakes, no excuses. And because of that, they're able to rebuild trust and recover much, much faster. So why is this more important today than ever before? Because we live in a world of total transparency. With social media and instant news, every single move a company makes is under a microscope. In this kind of environment,
Having a strong character isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's an absolute strategic necessity for survival. So let's wrap this all up with one final thought. Skills can get a company off the ground. A good strategy can definitely help it grow, but it's character that keeps it standing in the long run. It's what ensures a company doesn't just succeed for a moment, but that it actually endures. So here's something to think about. When you look at the companies you interact with, is their foundation solid, or is it just a house of cards waiting for a gust of wind?